dazzle, we're the best.
No, the courts aren't on your side, but they're not on the tenant side either.
Jen, like you are independently wealthy when you are naked.
I am over treating property management the same as real estate sales.
I guess I'll lead the witness. I think it's freaking scammy. Welcome to Hold It with PM Jen, the show for real estate investors who buy and hold forever and ever. Amen. Welcome to Hold It with PM Jen Season 2 trailer. I am PM Jen, and this is everything you can expect for next season and what's been going on since Season 1. I wanted to share with you a little bit about how Season 1 came to be. See, I've been told that I should have a podcast by everybody for years and years and years, and I've never done it. I did at one point buy a bunch of equipment. It's actually still in my dining room. I'm just extremely tech challenged, and when I don't know how to do something or I'm not excited by it, I don't work hard enough at it. And so this studio made this really great deal for us, and we were able to produce this podcast. And I'm proud of Season 1. The production value is really great. I'm proud of the content, but in general, it wasn't as exciting as some of the other content I can produce. And I think in Season 2, I'm looking to make some changes, right? So Season 1, I only brought guests in live, which they were fantastic, but I was very quickly running out of people worthy of being on the podcast that I could get into my studio here in central Pennsylvania. So Season 2, I am working with some people remotely. So we're doing some remote recordings and some live in person. I'm also producing it myself. So this is not professionally produced. This is me, what I can do with my iPhone, riverside.fm. That's how I'm producing this season. So some of these, the sound isn't that great. I did get a new microphone, but you'll see me kind of have a technological adolescence here in Season 2. In Season 2, I'm making it myself because I really want you to have a window into my world. I want you to see what it's like to manage all these properties and work with investors and advise them every day. And so I'm trying to do a better job of recording and showing and opening up that window for you all. We are closing the gap between recording and releasing. We actually recorded that season in October of 2024 and didn't release until January and February. And of course, we haven't put anything out since end of February, beginning of March. And I've been recording now for the last month, and I am launching now. So we've cut that down from several months to 1 month. And I still haven't produced all of the podcast episodes for this season. So I'm learning how to do this, but we're closing that gap because what was so interesting was when we were recording, the presidential election was top of mind. And by the time we released it, that was really old news, and we knew how things turned out. We will have guests, but not every episode. I'm going to do some episodes with Jessie, who I am no longer considering a guest. She is not a co-host, but it is clear that you like Jessie. I got the most feedback, all positive, when Jessie was on the podcast. And so I am going to make sure to use her more. I love having her on. I want her to loosen up a little bit, but I think she is. And she's getting more, kind of comfortable with sharing this because she is incredibly funny. She's also very, very smart and good at this business, but she's funny. And so that's probably what I value the most about having her on the podcast. Also, it is more of a window into my world when you see the two of us interact. You are also going to meet another Rulins. I'm actually recording with him tomorrow, George Rulins, my father. So my parents have been on the road for 23 years. They are in town for the summer. George and Diana are volunteering at One Focus Property Management. They are company volunteers with company credit cards and in his case, a company vehicle, but they are volunteering and doing all kinds of things for the business. And he's been my roadie, taking me on my speaking tours. And so he's also got not a lot of opinions about real estate investment, but a lived experience that is really valuable. The first episode or two of this season will not have it, but the rest will have professionally produced cocktail party segments. So I always talk about how this business pays in cocktail party stories. gosh, do we have them. I was called a queef pickle on the internet last week and then had to explain to my 70-year-old father what a queef was. But in case you're racking your brain wondering what a queef pickle is, I don't know it to be an actual thing. I think it was just two random words he decided to put together to insult me. But anyway, we're going to be telling those stories professionally produced, and we'll be putting those in each episode. So you get a little bit of the funny and humorous part of our business. So what's happened in the last, it's been 5 months, maybe, 4 or 5 months since the end of season 1. What has changed with Hold It with PM Jen? Well, last season you heard commercials about me talking about all the live events, about my real estate investor meetups. I was going to start deal tours and I was going to do a fall conference. And that has changed. So my real estate investor meetups in 2024 had gotten to a point where I was busting at the seams in the venue I was in, and it wasn't working for us anymore. And I moved to a fire hall here in Williamsport area, and my attendance dropped. I did the same marketing, and man, people just were not showing up. And when people were showing up, the vibe was low. It wasn't exciting. And in March, I was invited to Camp Hill, New Cumberland, I think, near Harrisburg. They had a meetup that was over 100 people. The room, it felt like a wedding. The vibe was so high. And I had a great time speaking to that group, and I got so inspired. And I said, you know what? The demand clearly isn't there in Williamsport for these live events, but it does exist in other places. So I took the deal tours, I took the real estate investor meetup, and I took the conference off the schedule. They're not gone forever. I definitely want to do all of those things, but this is not the year. And so I've redirected those efforts and budget, by the way, because all those things cost money, to two things. So one is a continuation of live events on a smaller, much more curated scale. And I am curating something I call the Long Game Legacy Society. And I have invited some people to the first event, which happened last week. And I'm not talking about it a lot publicly because it's not something you can just kind of get into. But I am looking to foster a group of people who support each other here locally and do get together in person. And I'm taking just a little bit of a different stab at making that happen with the Long Game Legacy Society. Additionally, I have launched the 2025 Hold It with PM Jen speaking tour. As I say, my town doesn't deserve me, so I'm coming to yours. I have booked about 8 different real estate investor meetups, conferences, conventions, things like that, and then another 8 to 10 podcasts this year. On top of my 2 podcast seasons, I am borderline overexposed this year. But that's what I'm doing. And I'm actually going to be making a tour t-shirt just for myself, showing all of those appearances. And that's what my dad and I were doing last night, driving to Lancaster County to do a real estate investor meetup down there. And it was a lot of fun. The other big change with Hold It with PM Jen is that I have decided to focus. I am focused on the hold part of buy and hold investment. And that works for anybody who's interested here locally because I have services to serve everybody. But beyond my local market where I don't have property management, maintenance, and construction services available, I'm selling education, inspiration, and motivation, right? I'm out there being a thought leader in the space, and I've decided to focus on millennial women as my audience. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One, I am a millennial woman. And if you say that I'm not, screw you. I absolutely am. I'm an elder millennial. And I didn't used to claim the millennial status, but now I would rather claim that than the Gen X. So I'm claiming millennial. I identify with them. I know what they care about. These are my friends, my coworkers. We are millennial women. This company is run by millennial women. So that's one reason. Another is I think they're uniquely poised to be the investors of this generation, of the millennial generation. I think their risk appreciation, their desire to be educated and have a plan is admirable and means they're going to be more successful. Their motivations not being purely financial, although they're financial. They're more balanced than I've seen other investors take. And then additionally, the big reason is that if you are a millennial woman interested in investing in real estate, who do you look to? Who do you look to that you can identify with, that shares your values, that has some sort of shared experience? And by the way, is patient with you, is accommodating, who is out there doing real estate influencing now tends to be young and middle-aged white men. And that's fine. There's no problem with that, except that women are not going to get what they need from those educators in most cases. There's always exceptions, but in most cases. And because women are underconfident in their abilities to invest, that it keeps them out of the game. And I find men are overconfident in their abilities in this arena, and they get in unprepared. And that's when you see people doing things, the slumlordy kind of behavior, I think is often due to inexperience and naiveness and things like that. So I'm looking to be that face for millennial women, to occupy the space and show them what it is like to hold real estate, hold boundaries, and build generational wealth. What you can expect from me this season: you're going to get to know me more, my motivations, what is important to me, the projects I'm working on, and how I got here. You, of course, will see my content start to shift to millennial women. So this has been in the works for months. I'm learning how to niche down, and that's been so exciting. I have a little sticker on my computer here. It says, "Be brave enough to be bad at something new." And that is where I am right now. I am just not that good at this new thing, but that's okay. I'm getting better every day. So you're going to see that content start to shift. Everybody can make use of it. It's really about risk appreciation. And so I'm calling it for millennial women. And you can expect some laughs. You can expect me to swear too much. You can expect me to maybe even run some commercials for things I end up canceling the next season. Anything goes around here. This is Fuck Around and Find Out Industries, LLC. Here's the last thing I'll leave you with on this super long trailer. We're already over 11 minutes. If you like this content, if you are my friend or want to be my friend, I have a big favor to ask of you. I would like you to go into your podcast app and rate, review, and subscribe. So write a review, give me a rating, 5 stars, obviously. This is a 5-star podcast. I'm a 5-star podcast host, but do what you will. That helps tremendously. You hear it on all the podcasts, and it matters especially for tiny little podcasts like mine. I mean, I am a nano podcast. I would like you to follow with me and engage with me on social media. I am in my mid-40s trying to figure out this algorithm, and every little bit is helping. Like I said, when you're a nano influencer, the little contributions mean a lot. And if you want to know something, if you want to tell me something, you want to talk about something, you should send me an email. It's to hiwpmj@onefocuspm.com. That's the acronym for Hold It with PM Jen, hiwpmj@onefocuspm.com. New episodes coming out every Wednesday. If we miss a week, send me an email. I probably scheduled it wrong. This is not a professional podcast operation. I repeat, not a professional podcast operation, but we are Bangarang property managers, and you can count on that forever and ever. All right, holders, what are we doing? Buying and holding forever and ever. Amen. All right, kids, sleep tight.